The Freeze.
Podcast.
The Freeze.
Podcast.
The Freeze.
Hello and welcome to the Freeze Podcast, the podcast about hip-hop chatter. I'm your host, Brian Capitao, guiding you through the headlines. So settle down with some hot cocoa, put on that ugly Christmas sweater one last time before the new year, and let me regale you with some news of rappers who did not shoot Megan Thee Stallion. All right, so jumping right into it, as I talked about in the previous episode, I wanted to talk a bit about Obama's playlist. So every year, the media asks Barack Obama about his best tracks of the year. But what I want to know is, as a playlist, does it slap? Now, Freeze listeners, I've been lied to, bamboozled, hoodwinked even. Obama's playlist is not real. There's no way he's listening to Bad Bunny, right? I mean, while he may in fact listen to some of these tracks, like, you know, say Zach Bryan's Something in Orange, or even Break My Soul, or even the Burna Boy track. Sure, but he's not listening to Ari Lennox's POF, a song with lyrics like, "When you come around, you pressing me like genuine so anxiously, with super thirsty energy like you never had no coochie." It's not happening, bro. American Teenager by Ethel Cain also doesn't seem like his cup of tea. Just saying. Communion in My Cup by Tank and the Bangers? Maybe, right? I mean, we're talking about somebody who likes a little bit of jazz, a little bit of hip-hop. Understandable. I just think that this playlist is filled with, you know, critically received music from this year from various artists, but there's absolutely no consistency. So, yeah, if you didn't know before, Obama's playlist, it's not a real thing. It's essentially a piece of propaganda. And as a playlist out of 10, I'm just going to say it. It's a 6 out of 10. That's right. I'm calling it mid. Next news item I wanted to briefly touch on is Lupe, Fiasco, and Kid Cudi still having beef. Now, I didn't even really know too much about this, even though this is a 10-year-old beef, but apparently Lupe still wants all the smoke with Kid Cudi. For those who have been blissfully unaware, Fiasco has had a beef with Kid Cudi for over 10 years. So apparently Kid Cudi had called him out on Twitter like 10 years ago for charging verses to his fans that his verses couldn't really properly use. And Kid Cudi, I guess, saw that as like exploitative, right? So, you know, Lupe Fiasco certainly wouldn't have been, you know, the first artist to, you know, exploit fans in this way, in any meaningful capacity. So every couple of years, though, you know, fans check in with Lupe to check his temperature against the man on the moon. And it doesn't seem like Lupe is letting up. So you know what? I think I know a way these guys can be friends again. Why don't they do a celebrity boxing match? Kind of like a creator clash thing, right? Like, I think that's a popular way that, you know, people can sort of settle their differences, if you will, right? Let them duke it out, mano a mano, in a celebrity boxing event. You know, it'll be for like a good cause. You know, I'm sure both of them as popular artists already made a good chunk of change. And no, this isn't me in a toxic masculinity type of way saying that they should settle things, or maybe it is, but sometimes you got to clear the air, and sometimes after a fight, you know, you're better boys for it, you know, depending on who you are. But I just think that it's kind of silly for them to be beefing about this, you know, 10 years down the road. Now, one of the other news items I wanted to touch is Lil Wayne's Lollipop. Lick me like a lollipop. Can't sing it. All right. Okay, what a throwback this song is. So Lil Wayne's Lollipop has gone certified diamond. And for those who don't know, diamond is the status above platinum. So this is above a platinum record. And what a throwback this song is, let me tell you. This song literally starts with a no homo ad-lib. And oh boy, how far have we come as a society. Now, this is Wayne at his commercial best. No other artist could pull off a raunchy banger like this, you know, with also references to Drop It Like It's Hot and the Black Eyed Peas song, My Humps. You know, anybody else doing a song like this, it would come off as corny. But Lil Wayne pulls it off with a sense of gravitas, a sense of true braggadociousness that works, a sense of braggadocio that works. So, you know, and Wayne always has these, you know, kind of like humorous bars that, you know, really kind of set the precedent for the time. And this was like right after, I would say, like his mixtape run, right? So, you know, big ups to Wayne. Congratulations to Wayne for achieving this huge milestone. And this is a monumental, you know, milestone for artists. Many artists don't reach this level of success. So for Wayne to achieve something like this, it is definitely well deserved. And yeah, you know, at one point in time, I really do think Wayne was the best rapper alive at one point in time. When he first said it, it was kind of a contentious take, a controversial take, but I think after a certain bit, I think he kind of proved himself in the arena, right? So I think you got to kind of look at it like that as well. And Lil Wayne has stood the test of time as the, you know, going certified diamond. Certainly kind of proves that that record held the test of time. And funnily enough, I didn't know this until recently, until doing research for this very episode, is that this song was actually covered by a rock band called, was it Framing Hanley, I think it was. And they even shot a music video for the cover of Lollipop, which is absolutely ridiculous because the song itself is ridiculous. But it for a rock band to do a song of Lollipop is ridiculous. For them to shoot a whole video and make it an official single, that's even more ridiculous. The fact that it works is 3 times as ridiculous. And yeah, apparently they're a rock band, an American rock band from Nashville, Tennessee. And how would you? It's kind of like an alt emo band, if you will. So it's interesting that you know, that it kind of proves that Lil Wayne's like commercial appeal and his crossover success into the mainstream at that point. And these guys were big in what, like 2008 maybe, as I'm guessing the height of their popularity. That's probably when Lollipop came out. Let's see. 2008, yeah. So the moment post-hardcore. Okay, so they're defined as post-hardcore. So I mean, there you have it, right? Like if it didn't stand the test of time, rock bands probably wouldn't have been doing a cover with it. And yeah, you go back to that track. That track, I wouldn't say it aged like exceptionally well, but you know, because Lil Wayne is kind of lighthearted in sort of his humorous approach to his lyrics, it works, right? He's playfully sort of joking and gesturing, and that's part of what makes Lil Wayne so great as an artist, is that he doesn't take himself so seriously. So Wheezy F baby, and the F is for phenomenal, as the famous refrain goes. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna talk about this because this was such a controversial thing that you know what? I'm just gonna talk about it. So I apparently got into hot water for claiming Dawn FM was among my favorite rap projects of the year. Okay, all right, folks. So the Kanye stand, or the Kanye to the stands, the Kanye forum, the second one, took issue with me basically lumping a Weeknd album in there. And granted, you know, I get it. Weeknd is not hip hop. I understand some of the criticism that I received. In fairness to me, it had been a long time since I first listened to the project. Weeknd to me is and always will be a hip hop adjacent artist. That isn't to say Weeknd is a hip hop artist himself. Really, it's more like he has sort of a hip hop twist. Now, I understand over the last few years he's sort of broken away from that as well, going into a more pop realm. But as I mentioned in the thread, Weeknd has co-written for Drake. He co-wrote Drake's second album. He's had verses where he's sort of like rapped on. And yeah, he's not necessarily a hip-hop artist himself, but to me, he is in that hip-hop adjacent realm. And in fairness, I just didn't listen to the album for a long time. I honestly don't think I should have gotten as much shit as I did. It was kind of ridiculous how the thread got derailed. And and some of the comments were a little unnecessary. But I did a bit of self reflection, and I can see where they were coming at with 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 Don FM not being a hip hop album. So I'll say it right now. I understand Don FM is not a hip hop album. I get it. The whole point of me lumping it in there was it was hip hop adjacent. I don't think that's what the issue was. I think the thread title, it's like when you read an article that has a headline and the headline doesn't have to do with the meat and potatoes of the article, you kind of feel clickbaited. So I understand that, like everybody's kind of precious about their time, and time is a commodity. And yeah, so I guess they felt that, well, if you're not gonna do the due diligence, we're not gonna take you seriously. I again, right? Like I think, without being too harsh on myself, I think some of the criticisms were fair. I think some of them went a little overboard, in terms of discussing like what is and isn't acceptable in hip hop. Because like I said, right, like hip hop is a genre that has sort of, it comes from other genres, right? Like hip hop, burst onto the scene mixing jazz, funk, soul, blues, right? So to say that something can and cannot be hip hop is kind of ridiculous to me, right? Like a few years ago, we were saying things without snares couldn't be considered like hip hop beats, right? So, and I think Dawn FM succeeds in trying to break off from the traditional mold of an R&B album or even traditional pop album, right? So I think it is like an alternative R&B or not hyper pop. I was going to say city pop for a second, and that's not city pop either. A synth pop is the correct, I guess, the technical correct term. But then somebody also brought up Frank Ocean, and then like I said, like Frank Ocean isn't necessarily like Frank Ocean would be, I guess, kind of R&B as well. But I brought up that he would be also considered like adult contemporary, and to me, what he's doing is adult contemporary. But Frank Ocean is also somebody that breaks genre boundaries all the time. When he first, I think, uploaded his album, apparently I read he put it under bluegrass or something like that. So yeah, fuck genre, like fuck being stuck to one genre. Let artists, let them cook. You know what I mean? Like, so it's the new year. Hope everybody's, had a good Christmas, had a fun New Year's Eve. Hopefully the hangover isn't too bad, and people are, ready to tackle on the new year with as much gumption as the last. So, yeah, I think, let's see, where are we at? 13 minutes. All right, let's see if maybe I can pull up one more news item. Gangsta Boo. Oh, geez. Gangsta Boo has reportedly died at age 43. R.I.P. if that is true. Gangsta Boo has died in her hometown of Memphis. Hip Hop DX has confirmed. Okay, so this has been confirmed. So Gangsta Boo was essentially a 3-6 Mafia affiliate, from my understanding. I'm sorry if I don't get all these details correct, but yes. So it says here in the article, DJ Paul of 3-6 Mafia posted a photo of his former 3-6 Mafia group mate, which many look as confirmation of her death. Okay, so he didn't write any captions. Long live the Queen, the Duke Deuce wrote. 2 Chainz say, Missy Elliott, who Gangsta Boo recently told was her list of dream collaborators, shared a photo of the Memphis legend with the caption, "Rest peacefully." Damn, that is pretty crazy. LP, okay. Love you, Lola. Thank you for your friendship. Damn. Yeah, that is pretty crazy, because I feel like she was on a record not even that long ago. I don't remember. It was like a mainstream album too, where they like brought Gangsta Boo back. So that's interesting. Okay. Wow, that's sad. Ah, man, yeah. It's like in the recent years we lost like all these legends, and it's sad. Like losing DMX was a big one, obviously. Um, Ah, man. Okay. Oh, Uncle Murda did another wrap up. I thought he stopped doing these. Okay, I haven't listened to this, so I can't really talk about it. But apparently, he. Okay, makes sense. Yeah, there was a lot that went on in hip hop this year, in terms of like drama and stuff. So there's definitely a lot of meat there for him to like dive into about like different stories about the year. Okay, Doja Cat receives death threat following incel chat room incident. Yeah, man. Uh, okay, so earlier this week. Oh, she. Okay, so she got doxxed basically for going into one of these like 4chan like rooms or some shit, and then he threatened Doja Cat. What an idiot! So what? He was like trying to extort Doja Cat or something. Uh, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't dislike Doja Cat. Um, for like, whatever. I mean, she's not unproblematic or whatever, but um, yeah, I feel like Doja Cat respectfully has tried to to kind of like sway the public back in her favor and try to make amends in her own sort of like way. She hasn't really done anything egregious, in my opinion. Like Azalea Banks, who, in fairness, I think is like actually mentally ill or suffers from mental illness. Um, so yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, it's funny that this article also mentions how and Doja Cat likes to troll, right? Doja is very much a product of the internet with her like Moo Moo song, I'm a cow, bitch, I'm a cow. Um, and so she trolled Elon Musk, changing her name to Christmas. I had forgotten about that for a second. Uh, okay. The Weeknd teases new music video to celebrate Dawn FM 1 year anniversary. Sorry, what site is this? Hip Hop DX? Hip Hop news site. Right. Okay. Oh, The Weeknd might be collaborating with Kid Cudi, also another hip hop artist who sings. Hmm. Interesting. Okay. Kid Cudi doesn't think it's gonna happen because he feels like that ship has sailed. I don't know. I think that. And there you go in the comments. This guy's not hip hop just because he sings hooks for rappers. Like, people are so ridiculous. He is R&B, man. He's alternative R&B. He went pop. Let it go, people. And yeah. All right. Let's see. That is about 20 minutes or so. Okay. So let me see if I can end it on a positive note. Let's see what's okay. Let's check out r/hip hop heads. Okay, here we go. What are some of the most disappointing or underwhelming hip hop album releases of all time? Okay, not the positive, not the positive thing I wanted to end on, but this is interesting at least. The Big Day. 100% agree with OP's comment here on The Big Day. Considering the hype that The Big Day had, I mean, the whole title was in him referencing going to a major label after being quote unquote independent, and that's independent in air quotes. But yeah, The Big Day was a hella letdown. Curtis, yeah, that one was, I would say, a disappointment as well, considering the hype around that one. Yep, the Nehru and Doom album. Slaughterhouse, yeah, the sophomore Slaughterhouse album was awful. Okay, I mean, there's quite a few ones. You know what I'm gonna say? I'm gonna say Jay Electronica's album when it finally dropped, because obviously we've all been waiting for however many plus years, and when it dropped, we were all hyped. And I mean, Exhibit A or Exhibit C or whatever, I forget the name of. I think it's Exhibit C, because There's also two versions. The one with like Erica Badu as well. Yeah, that is probably the biggest letdown of all time. Yeah, it's an album with so much potential and yet was such a huge letdown. So it's unfortunate, but I think I'm gonna wrap it up there. Yeah. All right. Well, my name is Brian Capitao. I've been your host for this evening. You've been listening to The Freeze Podcast, a podcast about hip hop.